Hey everyone, my name is Taps, and we saw Twitter and YouTube light up recently. And it's all mainly around the fact that there were some pretty negative things that Wax's co-founder William Quigley said on Paul Barone's channel, specifically about Veve as well as several other projects. Quid also threw some wood on the fire, as well as some other projects that are kind of all simultaneously happening in the past few weeks. Now, I want to share exactly why I think this negative attention is happening all at once and dispel the FUD and misinformation that Wax's co-founder said. The purpose of this video is not to shed any negativity on any project. If you like Wax, awesome. If you like Quid, great. The purpose of this video is to set the record straight through facts and numbers. And I'm going to share my opinions in a rebuttal to Mr. Quigley's points. In this video, you're going to understand why the negative attention is happening, how information can be misused, and what Veve has accomplished compared to many others in the NFT digital collectible space. Let's get it. As always, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the community, feel free to subscribe. I'm a crypto stock and real estate investor, but never a financial advisor. What I will say is it's odd that someone of William Quigley's caliber and business experience came on Paul Barone's channel and had an agenda, really, to discount so many projects. And William Quigley, of course, is Wax's co-founder. He worked at Disney for 1 month back 22 years ago, and he had a hand in creating Tether as well. So he is very, very experienced in blockchain technology. Again, the way he spoke about these projects was just poor form leadership, in my opinion, especially coming from someone who's been around in the space for so long. The digital collectible NFT space is still so nascent that there's room to rise for everyone, right? Everyone's gonna rise together. First, the vid, which please sub to Paul Barone. He has an amazing channel. He does great content. He's an excellent interviewer. And he was actually had our own Veve Ecomi content creator, Kyle Wilson, on his channel twice.
We've come a long way, much more so than others. I don't know of anybody who's done, let's say, a 3 million NFT drop at once.
So the first 9 minutes or so, he talks very, very deep about what Wax has accomplished, which Wax has accomplished quite a lot in 5 years. And they were one of the early blockchains to really dedicate themselves to NFTs, to build something around digital collectibles. I would say really it was Wax and Engine, which we'll touch on, who were some of the earliest to the game.
We have, I think we recently passed 10 million NFT collectors in the Wax Cloud wallet, which certainly makes it the most popular wallet for NFTs.
So if that's true, then you would be able to find some kind of data source that says that, right? Well, I could not find anything that showed Wax as being one of the top NFT wallets at all.
At Disney, we had this philosophy of consumers pray to the god of convenience. When I see things like Solana saying we do 65,000 transactions a second or something, that's just straight up lie. Part of it is that it's not been tested and proven.
So again, this interview is about Wax, right? But he spends a lot of this interview talking about other projects and how they fail in comparison to Wax, which Solana is an L1, just like Wax is. So it's just kind of odd that he throws Solana under the bus randomly during this interview.
Personally, I think layer 2 will ultimately be shown to not be the right path. Layer 1s are just more secure. And beyond that, if you build on top of someone else's platform, so you're Polygon or Solana, you're on top of Ethereum.
So now he's saying that L2s are inferior. And then he says if you build on top of like Polygon or Solana, Polygon, Matic, is a layer 2. Solana is a layer 1. So that's very factually incorrect. Layer 2s are Immutable X, Arbitrum, Polygon, not Solana. But again, putting other things down to elevate Wax's position.
Any plan to really kind of go and accelerate into true mobile native wallets, say on the Android or iOS systems?
Those are dark overlords.
Yeah.
Apple and Android are anti-crypto.
Apple and Android are anti-crypto. What's funny is the very next day after this interview, Apple to enable crypto payments with tap to pay by the end of 2022. On the metaverse side, a week ago, Apple on metaverse, we see a lot of potential in our investing. CEO Tim Cook says it's very interesting to us. So when you think of NFTs, you think of metaverse, you think about that extra layer on top of the world, augmented reality. You think of Apple Glass. Apple is not anti-crypto, but let's see why he said that.
The problem with Apple and Android and all the other 10 giant global internet-based companies is they worship their business model. There is not a single app that has an NFT on the Apple ecosystem,
App
on the
Store,
Apple
Yep.
App Store.
He's correct in the sense that Apple, the company, doesn't have NFTs.
Have been misled by companies. I think Disney misled companies. If they might not even have understood what was going on. Mm-hmm. Disney does not have an NFT. Some people think they bought NFTs on the Veve app. They have not. They bought virtual items. I say that because you can't trade that for money. You can't trade that off the Veve app. It's trapped in the Veve app. And I think they do a very poor job of actually highlighting that to users, because I know people who went on and said, oh, I've got this Disney NFT. I'm going to go, trade it on OpenSea and make some great money. And I'm like, no, you're not.
So the shot at Disney, again, which we've heard before, he's saying they're not NFTs because they're in a walled garden state or they're on an app, which I have NFTs in my Engine wallet that are in an app via Apple. And he's saying that you can't sell them for money, right? Well, people go off app, even though they encourage you not to, and sell for USDT. People have sold on eBay. Yes, they are not tied to a non-custodial wallet like MetaMask yet, but this was also one of the reasons why they moved to Immutable X. Went from GoChain to an Ethereum Layer 2 solution so that we could actually move into a marketplace like Immutable X, which is also integrating with OpenSea. I do agree that there should be more understanding off the bat that, hey, you can buy gems with fiat and then you have to wait to cash out. And the MTL has taken way too long. I do agree there.
Because Apple doesn't allow that. Apple does not allow virtual items to leave the Apple ecosystem.
The integration of Ecomi, the plugin to Veve that is pending, that could essentially at least give the value proposition for a Veve digital item holder being able to trade that and be able to do an exchange into an Ecomi token. Wouldn't that enable the offboarding of those assets? As
soon as head transplants are possible, as soon as we have flying cars, then I will love them. You can't do that now. Right. You are buying a virtual item. There was a company ahead of its time, I would say, called Quidd, that had virtual items that you could buy within the Apple app. And they licensed probably 100 different companies to trade these things back and forth, but not for money. And you could never leave the app. And they failed. They raised venture money. They failed because people weren't interested in that.
Really interesting that he actually took a shot at Quidd as well. And Quidd is also taking a shot at Veve because of this, even though he took a shot at them. Now, Quidd was doing virtual collectibles for a long, long time. And yes, they signed many, many brands, but they were never on a blockchain. They truly were digital collectibles or virtual items. And Quidd does have 325 brands and licensors. So they do have more than have been announced than Veve, but they've also been doing it for about 5 or 6 years. There's now a Quidd token, and they're now actually making their collectible items into NFTs.
When you say you're going to do an NFT drop, but it's identical to what Quidd was doing 6-7 years ago, I think that's misleading.
Again, Veve NFTs were built on GoChain. They're NFTs. Yes, they're in a walled garden. I would say that they do have a similar kind of track than Quidd, but they also do have premium collectibles versus some of the content that is in Quidd. I think the way they rolled out is completely different. And if it was the same, then Veve wouldn't be as successful as it has been compared to Quidd.
Ecomi's plan was to allow people to go into this app and get an NFT and then go take it out of that ecosystem and trade it on some Ethereum marketplace. Right. I say that's great, but get Apple's permission, and Apple has not granted it yet.
So Veve is available on Apple. It's also available on Samsung, right? But that's the app, and the app doesn't play very well with iOS. Again, the fact that there's a wallet tied to Apple and that people buy in-app currency via fiat, that doesn't mean that Apple owns the NFTs. And there's a desktop version coming very soon. So again, this entire argument is really, really off base.
I don't see the AAA gaming companies embracing this. I think they will call virtual items that are highly restricted, they'll call those NFTs. That's false advertising because they're not NFTs.
He's deciding what makes an NFT, what makes it great, what doesn't, right? And Wax is in the gaming NFT market. So again, conflict of interest. Again, let's raise Wax up. Let's push down other gaming companies moving into NFTs. So NFTs are one thing and they can only be defined by a certain person and they can't evolve, right? If they're gated, they can't be NFTs, but what are NFTs? An NFT is simply just data that you can't interchange, right? It's a one-way direction that is stored on the blockchain and it can be sold or traded. So the entire interview was not terrible. He actually made some really, really good points. However, again, it was just very negative on many projects, which is odd. And again, to address the fact that Veve are NFTs, they're on a Mutascan. You can see we are over 4 million minted. And if I send a collectible right now to another account, I will be able to see it. I will be able to see the address and I'll have to send it from one to the other. It's non-fungible. If they were just virtual collectibles like what Quidd has or still has, then we wouldn't have needed to migrate originally from GoChain to Immutable X. So yes, it is a walled garden format, but it isn't being restricted by Apple. And the argument they're not NFTs is just incorrect, and you're trying to push an agenda. Now, why would the co-founder of Wax be trying to push an agenda that Veve NFTs are not NFTs? For one, we're seeing all this negativity over the past few weeks because of the move to Immutable X. It's become real. Veve NFTs were on GoChain. There was a whole lot of speculation about them, but now that they're on one of the most popular layer 2s and fastest growing, an Ethereum-based solution, it's getting harder and harder to have naysayers say they're not NFTs, especially when that competitor is someone who has some of the other brands and licensors that are on Veve. And again, not trying to hate on Wax. I do have a lot of different cogs. I'm a big fan of Red Fox Labs, and I have some other Wax NFTs as well. But I will tell you, the marketplace is not great. And the main reason, I believe, is because we saw their Spider-Man NFT drop in partnership with Sony and AMC. I didn't see them in the Wax marketplace yet, so I'm not sure that they've been delivered. But again, they saw how well Veve's first ever Spider-Man Marvel NFTs have done, right? Having the first Spider-Man NFTs, I think this is a stab in the dark to try and pull that away. And I guarantee the price on the 86,000 will, once delivered, will go up in the Wax marketplace, but they'll inevitably probably drop back down as most of the collectible values in Wax have. Now, Wax has been around since 2017. They have 251,000 followers, so they are well recepted. But in a year and a half, roughly, Veve has outpaced and done a lot more than most in the digital collectible space. And we see Wax just announced they are going certified carbon neutral, which Veve also was also one of the first NFT companies to do so almost 1 year ago. Wax has around 60,000 people in its Discord, and Veve is right on their tail, again, with less time at 220,000 followers, so bridging that gap pretty fast. And they have well over 100,000 people in their Discord. Now, I didn't play it, but one thing that Quigley did say is it has the most in sales volume. They are number 2 in NFT sales volume among all layer 1 blockchains, which puts them ahead of Solana and Flow and right behind Ethereum. Now, that's sales volume. But the method of Wax and Quidd actually is tons and tons of content for very, very little value. So when you actually look at all of the NFT sales, they have some pretty big spikes with like their largest days around $57,000 worth of volume in April 2021 and another day in August 2020. But by majority, like if you look at the average, it's probably somewhere around $2,000 to $3,000 worth of sales volume a day. $2,000 to $3,000. That's it. And they've been doing this for 5 years. Another reason why I think he spoke so negatively on layer 2s, spoke so heavily about gaming, spoke negatively about Veve is because it's Immutable X. Immutable X Layer 2 is really building a strong ecosystem, especially in the gaming side. With Illuvium, Guild of Guardians, Wilder World, Superfarm, Block Party. I mean, they're doing great things, and they have Ecomi Veve now. And what's funny is I found this article from 2020, and they're all words directly from William Quigley. And what really jumped out is he says, convenience is key. Quigley says convenience is the biggest challenge for crypto adoption. Consumers pray to the god of convenience. If it's inconvenient, they won't take it. And agreed, but that's one of the best value props about Veve and the fact that they are a walled garden. Veve right now, you don't have to have crypto in order to have NFTs. And yes, you'll be able to spend OMI directly to buy these NFTs and land eventually, but they're always going to allow the ability to spend fiat because it is that bridge for those who want to get NFTs without crypto, who might then get into crypto, and the side who want to spend just crypto. And most of the utility is not here yet, but what is cool is Immutable X is already leaning into the partnership. I can actually sell one of my NFTs right now for OMI. Now, Wax has a ton of NFTs, but again, they gave out 10 million NFTs back in 2019. Again, their whole business model is to just basically have content, a lot of content. And what's happened is the value of that content stays really, really low. And again, Wax to give out 10 million free NFTs in the largest ever NFT drop with an array of brands on board and rising play to earn games. Wax will give out free NFTs to celebrate its growth January 2022. It's just odd to give out that many NFTs all at once. Like, it feels like you're trying to buy awareness or you're trying to buy users. And if you're truly successful, do you need to do that? Now, I want to highlight these numbers again because these are important. Around $2,000 to $3,000 is roughly what the per day total sales volume has been for Wax in the past year and a half. Again, they've been around for 5 years. Now, you compare these numbers to Veve, which Mr. Quigley, you probably can't because it's hard to get these numbers. However, our community is very strong, and shout out to Puddinjeeks for having this amazing spreadsheet with all of the numbers that go all the way back to December 2nd, 2020, which we have all of the numbers on. If you take the total gems bought in the app, and one gem is equal to $1 USD. So people are flooding money into this app. How much? $258,880,654. Now I'm going to be hyper conservative with many of these numbers. Let's say there's a 5% margin of error between the APIs, whatever, right? So we're down to 245. And that is since the market has been open, which is 435 days. So we're going to divide that by 435, which is $565,000. Now, there's a lot of money in transactions spent in the secondary market. That's why people buy gems. I also buy them for drops. Let's just say people who've bought gems and are just sitting on gems, I would say probably 10%. But again, let's be hyper conservative. Let's say that only 75% of the gems bought today have been spent. So times 75%, we're at $424,028. That is the average of all the days for essentially a year and 2 months. The average daily spend to date since inception for Veve is $424,028. The reason why is because that spray and pray approach that Wax has is a lot of content, a lot of NFTs. It's very hard to find a lot. But when you look at what's selling on Wax, it's very, very low price, right? $4, 4 cents, 35 cents, 96 cents, $4, 71 cents, $1.46, $1.42, $12, 2 cents, 22 cents, 10 cents, 7 cents, 30 cents, $3, 146, 104. And the market is flooded with this. So it's that micro transactions, right? So they have a ton of content, but it's a flooded market. The cheapest thing you can have in Veve is really like a comic that is not done so well, and it's probably around $12. But you won't find a single thing in Veve unless someone accidentally lists it, or under $10 usually. But majority of the prices are much, much higher than anything else compared to Wax or Quidd. $369, $420, $7,666, $428, $1,325, $2,460. I mean, there are so many collectibles in the high hundreds, in the thousands. So the microtransaction strategy that Wax is using is just not quite competing with Veve. So again, I show all this because clearly Veve came in and did something that they were not supposed to do, right? They were way too successful doing things differently with things that were not NFTs according to Wax, have built up a larger community than most, have gotten a lot of first NFTs from the largest brands in the world, and that's where this is all stemming from. And at the same time, Quidd actually chose to hop on the same thing and tag Veve official and this video and Wax and William Quigley and say, hop in tonight's AMA, real NFTs. So even though William Quigley said Quidd had failed, which, I mean, that might have been one of the reasons why they were acquired by Animoca, they're supporting Wax. And it's because clearly there's some kind of partnership going on here. Who knows? But let's hear what they say.
Wax has developed a platform that has an incredibly high throughput. They are champions of the notion that it's far cooler to sell 1 million NFTs for $1 than sell one NFT for $1 million. And we have to echo that same sentiment because, what are we here doing? Are we building, the next, extreme luxury fashion brand that's inaccessible to 99% of the world, or are we making something that's inclusive?
Why can't you do both? That's exactly what Veve has done, is they have something for everyone that is affordable, like comics and most of the collectibles up until the past 6 months. And then they have the luxury items, right? Like you have collectibles that are completely out of reach because they're the first Marvel, the first Disney. Now it seems like Quidd and Wax are working together to now compete, which is why out of nowhere with an interview with Wax, he chose to speak so negatively about Veve. And I get it. It makes sense that they would partner together. They've both been in the similar business for quite some time. Wax was NFTs. Quidd was virtual items. They both had a big emphasis on tons and tons of content with microtransactions. And you can see the average selling price for #1 items in aftermarket is around $2,000. And there's roughly around 80,000 #1 items to discover and collect. And Quidd's been around for like 5 or 6 years or so, and they have 7 million registered users, which is different from daily users or active monthly users. So I'm really curious what their active monthly users are, but again, they've been at it for a very long time. Now, if you see, I do have a Quidd account. I grabbed one back in April to check it out. I have some stickers, haven't done much with it. Again, not hating on Quidd, but when you look at their top brands for all time, what has sold the most? It's Marvel, Panini, Atari, Star Trek. Again, very similar licensors, right? But these are virtual items, not NFTs. They were never minted on a blockchain. And when you look at their top sales of all time, and I said the average price for #1 items is around $2,000, and they have about 80,000 items that are #1. The highest sold item was Infinity Gauntlet, which that's cool. $12,000, $7,000, and then it drops very quickly. It takes about 16 items that were around $2,000, and then it's below $2,000 and continues to drop as you look through the sales history into the hundreds very fast. And when you look at the prices for Quidd collectibles, 15 cents, $250, 15 cents, $13, $3. Again, a lot of microtransactions, a lot of content that just throw it all in there and see what gets bought. They have very, very similar business models. It makes sense that they would work together to try to compete with Veve, who's been absolutely crushing everyone in the space. However, there's a better way of doing it versus just trying to spread misinformation because it's just coming off as unethical. So again, Immutable X made it real for all. In having Disney, having Marvel, they know there's going to be more large brands and more licensors that are going to choose Veve. They're already lined up at the door. They've said that they are getting tons of calls from licensors of big brands. And most likely, those big brands and licensors are turning down these other NFT platforms, and that is probably driving them nuts. So this is going to continue. We're going to see even more, which we already have seen a ton in the past few weeks due to this move to Immutable X. So the reason why there were shots fired simply are, in my opinion, competitive tactics that are in really poor taste. This is unfortunate to see because, again, I have Wax NFTs. I'm sure there's tons of people who love Quidd. But tearing down another project to try to make yours rise is never going to be successful. Veve grew into an incredibly monstrous successful company with a massive, passionate community that sells out every single drop in less than 1 second for 6 months straight with multiple drops a week. So another tactic could be also, let's supercharge the community. All of those red circles are going to be going crazy on our Twitter, on our YouTubes, and that is going to get attention. Selling out that many NFTs consistently for 6 months in less than a second, I can't think of another company that has done that with multiple drops a week. So now that Ecomi is on a layer 2 NFT Ethereum-based solution, it's real, and it's real scary to other NFT projects, especially to those who hold the same brands or similar brands, but Veve beat them to NFTing of those brands. And they're probably not getting some of the other brands and licensors that they wanted to have. And the reason why is because every single brand that comes to Veve, the values skyrocket. They are making a ton of money. They always sell out. It's not for cents, it's for a lot of money. And then those brands continue making money in the secondary. So I really hope Wax and Quidd change their tune because I don't think this is going to be effective. But heads up, fam, there's going to be probably another 10 to maybe 20 more solid digital collectible NFT platforms by the end of this year. And there's going to be more mud that's going to be thrown from some of these projects. And why? Because everyone wants to take down the GOAT. Everyone wants to grab as much awareness as they can and try to even go after maybe the users of that project. But none are really landing. And it makes sense to take shots now before MTL when you can cash out, because then you lose that excuse. Before OMI to NFT, before the Veveverse comes, and it's also now a metaverse token and metaverse NFTs. So the first half of this year is really the only shots they're going to have left to take. So good luck with that. As always, I hope you found my content valuable, and if so, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. The likes and comments appease the algo overlords and help my channel continue to grow. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button, notification bell for future content. That's it for today. I'm Taps. Thank you for your time, man. Happy trading.